Welcome to the 50th episode of Energy Talk with EMC. Over the past 49 episodes, Energy Talk with EMC has brought together eminent personalities, experts, policymakers, and thought leaders from across the country, sharing their valuable insights, innovative ideas, and future perspective on the energy sector. Today, we proudly mark a significant milestone in this journey with our 50th and most prestigious episode. To commemorate this occasion, we present a special panel discussion featuring distinguished experts who will share their views on the challenges, opportunities, and future pathways shaping energy and sustainability. The Energy Management Center Kerala proudly welcome you all on the 50th episode of Energy Talk with EMC. Come join us.
I am pleased to note that the Energy Management Center Kerala is bringing out the milestone 50th episode of its knowledge sharing series Energy Talks with EMC Arivinu Urjam Pagara in the form of a special panel discussion featuring eminent national and international experts. The Government of Kerala remains firmly committed to advancing energy efficiency, promoting renewable and green energy generation, and progressing towards the vision of a carbon neutral and sustainable future. Achieving these goals requires informed public participation, knowledge dissemination, and continuous capacity building across all sections of society. In this context, initiatives such as Energy Talks with EMC play an important role in creating awareness and fostering meaningful dialogue on emerging energy and sustainability challenges. I congratulate EMC on successfully completing 50 episodes of this valuable program and extend my best wishes for its continued success in delivering innovative knowledge, sharing and capacity building initiative for the benefit of society. Thank you all.
Namaskaram. Welcome to the special episode of Energy Talk with EMC Arivinu Urjam Pagara. For the last 49 episodes, this platform has united experts, policymakers, and institutional researchers to drive dialogue on energy conservation and climate action. Today, as India and Kerala navigate rapid growth alongside deep climate and sustainability commitments, we are stepping back to look at the larger picture. To discuss these challenges and opportunities, we are privileged to welcome an esteemed panel of national and international leaders representing various organizations. I extend a warm welcome to our esteemed panelists. Sri Soumya P. Garnaik, India Country Representative, Global Green Growth Institute. Dr. Sunita Purushottam, Country Managing Director, Global Building Performance Network. Sri Sarabjot Singh, Saini, Senior Manager, CLASP. Srimati Sumedha Malavya, Program Head, Building Decarbonization, WRI. Welcome. Let us begin the discussion with addressing the aspects of energy security. To set the context for our discussion, let's start with the Global Green Growth Institute. Welcome, Sri Soumya Garnaik, India Country Representative, Global Green Growth Institute. Sir, India is witnessing rapid economic growth, increasing energy demand, and it has also set ambitious climate commitments. How do you view the current energy security scenario of India? We'd also appreciate any perspective relevant to Kerala as well. Thank you, sir.
Well, energy security is always linked with our future. And I believe India's energy security challenge today is more complex than ever because we are trying to simultaneously achieve three objectives: high economic growth, rapidly rising energy demand, and ambitious climate commitments. India is currently the third largest energy consumer and one of the fastest growing major economies. The electricity demand has been growing at around 6 to 8% annually, as we have seen in recent years. And overall power demand is expected to more than double by 2047. Therefore, ensuring reliable and affordable energy supply will be central to sustaining our economic growth. But at the same time, India's dependence on imported fuel remains a strategic concern. We all understand that. Over 80% of our crude oil requirements and around 50% of natural gas and a substantial portion of the cooking coal are imported. This exposes the economy to a global price volatility and the geopolitical uncertainties, which we have seen in the recent past. So in my view, Reducing this import dependence is not only an economic policy priority, but also a national energy security imperative. So, what is encouraging is that India's energy transition is increasingly strengthening our energy security part as well. The country has already crossed about 50% of installed electricity capacity from non fossil fuel sources, well ahead of its 2030 target timeline. India has also set a target of achieving 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030 and the net zero emission by 2070. So this demonstrates that climate action and energy security are becoming mutually reinforcing rather than contradictory. Another aspect that deserves greater attention is energy efficiency, which I always support from the bottom of my heart. According to the International Energy Agency, the efficiency improvement could account for nearly one third of the emission reduction which is needed globally, while simultaneously reducing the energy imports and infrastructure investments. We have seen the progresses in our energy efficiency initiatives since last 2 decades or even more. The energy intensity reduction of around 1% per year since last 1 decade, that is a very, very welcome step. Programs like PAT, the Perform, Achieve and Trade, the Standard and Labeling Program, the Ujala Program, and many other national level demand side management programs demonstrate that energy efficiency is a low cost measure for meeting the energy demand. In a country like India, energy efficiency should be viewed as the first fuel if we have to ensure our energy security. You asked me about the perspectives on Kerala. Kerala presents a very unique case. Despite having one of the highest human development indicators in the country, the state is heavily dependent on energy imports from outside its borders. More than 70% of electricity requirement is made through purchases from the national grid, and making the energy diversification and resilience particularly very, very important. The state's electricity demand has been increasing steadily, driven by rapid urbanization, rising incomes, and especially the growing demand for air conditioning and thermal comfort. From the GGGI point of view, we are proud to engage with the state to support them in a low carbon building transition project where the retrofit of the air conditionings in the larger buildings are being targeted. So this makes energy efficient buildings and super efficient cooling technologies extremely important for Kerala as we look beyond 10 years from now. Of course, Kerala has made commendable progresses in renewable energy. The state aims to achieve around 3 gigawatt of solar capacity by 2030 and is actively promoting the rooftop solar and floating solar projects. Given its exposure to floods and extreme weather events, decentralized renewable energy system and battery storage can also play very important role in enhancing the climate resilience and energy security of the state. Therefore, from Kerala's perspective, energy security is not merely about having enough power. It is about creating a resilient, decentralized, and low carbon energy system that supports economic growth while safeguarding communities from climate risk. So, overall, in my opinion, the definition of energy security is changing. Earlier, it meant securing supplies of coal and oil. But going forward, energy security will increasingly be determined by our ability to deploy clean electricity, improve energy efficiency, build resilient infrastructure, and reduce dependence on important fuels. For both our country and the Kerala state, the energy transition is not a trade-off of economic growth. It is increasingly becoming a pathway to strive for the stronger growth, greater competitiveness, and enhanced national resilience.
Thank you for providing the broad perspective on energy security. One of the most effective strategies for strengthening energy security is improving the efficiency with which energy is consumed. This becomes visible to consumers through the appliances and technologies they use every day. Let us hear from our friend from CLASP, Sri Sarabjot, on this important aspect.
Energy security is often associated with increasing power generation capacity and fuel supply. However, an equally important and cost-effective approach is reducing energy demand through energy efficiency and demand-side management. Energy efficient appliances, right? We call it the 5-star rated appliances and equipment consume significantly less electricity while providing the same level of comfort, convenience, and functionality to consumers. When millions of consumers adopt efficient technologies, the cumulative reduction in electricity demand becomes substantial. This helps to reduce dependence on imported fossil fuels, lower peak power demand, reduce stress on the electricity grid, and postpones investments in new generation and transmission infrastructure. Demand side management, we call it DSM as well. It complements energy efficiency by encouraging consumers to use electricity more efficiently and at appropriate times. Though measures such as energy efficient appliances, smart controls, demand response programs, and consumer awareness initiatives, utilities can better manage peak power demand and improve grid reliability. For a state like Kerala, where electricity demand continues to grow and a significant portion of power is sourced from outside the state, energy efficiency becomes particularly important. Kerala's tropic climate results in increasing use of air conditioners and cooling appliances like ceiling fans. Kerala's tropical climate results in increasing use of air conditioners and cooling appliances, thereby promoting B 5-star rated appliances can substantially reduce electricity consumption and household electricity bills. Programs such as the large-scale replacement of conventional ceiling fans with energy-efficient PLDC fan demonstrate how appliance energy efficiency can deliver immediate savings. Similarly, adoption of energy-efficient refrigerators, air conditioner, and lighting systems across household, commercial establishment, and government buildings can collectively reduce peak demand and improve energy security. Ultimately, every unit of electricity saved through efficiency is equivalent to generating additional electricity without consuming fuel or creating emissions. Therefore, energy efficiency and demand-side management should be considered as the first fuel in India's energy transition and energy security strategy.
Appliances and equipments are one part of the story. Buildings and urban infrastructure where people live and work represents another major opportunity for long-term energy savings. I would like to ask the next question to Dr. Sunita Purushottam from GBPN. How can energy-efficient buildings and sustainable urban infrastructure contribute towards strengthening India's energy security? I would like to know your Kerala-specific experience as well. Thank you.
Buildings contribute to 1/3 of the energy consumption and 1/3 of GHG emissions globally. In India, the numbers are slightly lower, but it is getting there. It means that if we have to look at India's energy security, we have to build better buildings and better infrastructure. And it is not about green construction alone. Every unit of electricity that is saved in building and built environment reduces the need to generate more power, especially in terms of the generation, the transmission, and the peak load capacity and the infrastructure that we have to put in place to distribute it. Buildings can be energy efficient, and Kerala has been historically demonstrating that how climate responsive, fan first, passively designed buildings can be thermally comfortable in Kerala's hot and humid climates. Today, it is important that we realize that we have to do better buildings with better design. And it is not about putting technology on top of it. We cannot rely on increasing air conditioning. This is where Kerala is going to. We have seen a lot of new homes being made in Kerala where there has been extensive use of glass and concrete, which actually makes it difficult for the buildings to be thermally comfortable or climate responsive. This requires more cooling. And this is actually against India's energy security. These experiences which Kerala already has can be revived and must be revived. These are better buildings and must be modernized to cater to modern needs. And Kerala can show the way for India's energy security through indigenous material use and indigenous and climate responsive ways of building design. Actions such as GBPN can support an implementation through simple checklist, builder-focused guidance, pilot projects, targeted training. Different stakeholder groups from elected representatives to engineers, architects, builders, contractors need different types of actual capacity building, which is not just a PPT based training, but also on the ground understanding how how buildings are energy efficient and better. Ultimately, the success will depend on practical, simple, relevant, everyday building decisions.
Now we have heard perspectives on energy systems, efficiency, appliances and buildings. Let us bring the discussion closer to Kerala and understand the working being undertaken on the ground. The question goes to Sumita Malavia from WRI. To begin with, could you briefly introduce WRI India's work in Kerala and the broad areas you are engaged in?
WRI India is an independent knowledge organization that provides objective information and practical proposals to foster environmentally sound and socially equitable development. As an independent knowledge organization, we leverage our data and expertise to catalyze change across systems like food, land, water, energy, and cities. In the energy sector, WRI India has been working closely with Kerala's state agencies, utilities, and local governments to support the clean energy transition in a structured and evidence based way. Our work spans energy efficiency, renewable energy integration, sustainable cooling, and building decarbonization. We engage across cities as well as local self government bodies to ensure that solutions are not only policy relevant but also implementable on the ground. A key part of our approach has been working with institutions to strengthen data systems, planning frameworks, and capacity so that transition efforts can be scaled effectively.
So far, we have discussed why energy security matters and how efficiency across sectors can contribute towards achieving it. The next question is what pathways are available to accelerate this transition? I would start with Mr. Garnaik. What role can renewable energy, green growth strategies, and sustainable development initiative play in strengthening long-term energy security in India and small states like Kerala?
Well, thanks for the question. In my view, renewable energy and green growth strategies and sustainable development are no longer a peripheral of environmental concern. They are becoming central pillars to our long-term energy security in our country. As I said earlier, India's energy demand is expected to nearly double by 2047 as the country progresses towards becoming a developed country. At the same time, 85% or even more of our crude oil requirements and around half of our natural gas demand is made through imports. So this dependency exposes us to the geopolitical uncertainties and price shocks. Therefore, enhancing domestic clean energy capacity is fundamentally an energy security strategy. The renewable energy is particularly very important because it transforms India from being an importer of fuels to the producers of energy. We have seen the achievements from in the renewable energy front by the states, by the centers through its policies, programs, and projects. So this transition is helping the diversify the energy mix, improve the resilience, and reduce exposure to volatile international market. However, energy security is not only about producing more energy as we understand, but it is also equally important to see that how we are effectively consuming the energy. Green growth strategy is a new concept being adopted by many countries. Of course, it emphasizes resource efficiency, circular economy principles, sustainable urbanization, and low carbon industrial developments. This can decouple our economic growth from energy consumption and emissions. For example, the building sector and cooling demand represent enormous opportunities. Super efficient cooling technologies, thermal comfort based building designs, and energy efficient appliances can substantially reduce the peak electricity demand while improving productivity and quality of life of the people. Sustainable initiatives also contribute to energy security by strengthening resilience. Climate-induced disruptions, whether it is floods, heat waves, extreme weather events, which pose increasing risk to the energy infrastructure. So investments in resilient grids, decentralized energy systems, battery storages, and smart energy management can enhance this reliability while supporting to the climate adaptation. From the Kerala perspective, these issues are even more relevant because Kerala depends heavily on the imported electricity and fossil fuels and is highly vulnerable to climate-related disasters. So in this state, it should be viewed through the lens of resilience, decentralization, and sustainability. Kerala has considerable opportunities in rooftop solar, the floating solar, battery storage, energy mobility, and even demand-side management. So with rising temperature and increasing cooling demand, the energy-efficient buildings and thermal comfort solutions, this can play a transformative role in the state. Every unit of electricity saved through efficiency reduces the need for additional generation and strengthens the energy security that we understand. So Kerala's experience with distributed renewable energy and decentralized systems can provide a model for climate resilient development. The community level solar system, the storage solutions with solar for critical infrastructures, and smart grids can make the state's energy system more robust against future disruptions. So, in a summary, if I can conclude, I believe the renewable energy, green growth, and sustainable development should not be viewed as a separate agendas. They are mutually connected. They are mutually reinforcing pillars of energy security. For India and the states such as Kerala, the transition towards a low carbon economy is not merely about reducing the emissions. It is about creating a more resilient and competitive and self reliant energy future. In the decades ahead, countries and regions that successfully integrate economic growth with clean energy and sustainability will definitely enjoy greater energy security and sovereignty in the long term vision.
While supply side measures are important, achieving sustained energy savings requires both efficient technologies and informed consumer choices. Let us now examine how policy instruments can influence this transformation.
Globally, energy performance standards and labeling programs are considered among the most effective market transformation mechanisms for driving energy efficiency improvements and influencing consumer purchasing decisions. In India, Bureau of Energy Efficiency Standards and Labeling Program has played a transformative role in improving the efficiency of household appliances and equipment. The program provides consumer with reliable and easily understandable information regarding the energy performance of products. Through the familiar star rating labels, consumers can quickly compare products and make informed purchasing decisions based not only on upfront costs but also on long-term energy savings. The program also drives innovation among manufacturers as effectively standards become progressively more stringent. Manufacturers invest in research, development, and improved technologies to meet or exceed regulatory requirements. This creates a virtuous cycle of technological advancement and market transformation. Over the years, the Standards and Labeling Program has significantly improved the efficiency levels of major appliances such as air conditioners, refrigerators, ceiling fans, televisions, and water heaters. Many products available today consume substantially less electricity than similar products sold a decade ago. From a consumer behavior perspective, the star label has become a trusted symbol of energy efficiency. Increasingly, consumers recognize that a slightly higher initial investment in a more efficient appliances can result in substantial saving over the product's lifetime. However, the impact of standards and labeling extends beyond individual purchasing decisions. The program also supports government procurement policies, utility programs, financial incentive schemes, and state-level energy efficiency initiatives. By creating a common benchmark for efficiency, standards and labeling program helps align manufacturers, policymakers, utilities, and consumers towards a shared goal of reducing energy consumption. As India's electricity demands continues to grow, Strengthening and expanding standards and labeling program will remain essential for achieving national energy efficiency, climate, and energy security objectives.
Moving beyond appliances, the building sector offers tremendous opportunities for reducing energy consumption over long term. What are the opportunities and challenges in promoting green buildings, energy efficient construction practices, and building energy codes in India?
In India, there is an opportunity because the future building stock is yet to be built. This allows for energy efficiency to be integrated right at the design stage. Otherwise, we will be locking in buildings that are not thermally comfortable, they are not well ventilated, and are not comfortable for at least 8 to 10 months in a year. We have to make this into a standard construction practice rather than something premium. This has to be integrated into the design process. And building energy codes can establish minimum standards for comfort, affordability, and energy performance. Digital approval systems simplify the compliance, and public buildings, schools, housing projects, small commercial establishment can actually demonstrate how efficient construction and better designed building looks like. There is a potential to connect green finance to actual building performance. And it's not just about green certifications. Challenges remain. Energy efficiency is viewed as an added cost rather than a long term saving. Building energy codes can be difficult for homeowners, small builders, local officials to understand and implement because of the technicalities. Many construction decisions are often made even before the approvals begin, and municipal reviews often prioritize setbacks, height, limits, and fire safety over energy performance or sustainability performance. The key challenge is not about codes, but making it usable, understandable, so that urban local bodies and the state designated authorities and those who are enforcing the code understand it. Organizations such as GBPN, Global Building Performance Network, actually helps in bridging this gap by converting policy into practical tools, checklists, and workflows, and working rounds up with the local authorities to ensure that the code adoption happens. Kerala has shown that stakeholders want practical guidance, not just policy discussions. Ultimately, success will come when energy efficient buildings become default and not an exception. Let's look at opportunities and challenges in promoting green buildings and energy efficient construction in India. India has a unique opportunity. The reason is that buildings that will exist in by 2070, 86% of them are yet to be built. The future building stock is yet to be built. This allows us to make sustainable, energy efficient building integrated right at the design stage, and it has to be made into a construction practice rather than a premium green feature. Building energy codes can help in establishing standards for comfort, affordability, and energy performance. Digital approval systems for energy conservation and sustainability building code can simplify the compliance. And public buildings like school buildings, small offices, establishments can demonstrate what efficient buildings, climate responsive design can look like for India. There is a potential to integrate green finance to actual building performance. However, there are many challenges. It is challenging for developers to look at green building design or climate responsive design because there is actually a technical understanding gap. Many builders do not have technical teams who understand climate responsive and passive design and how to integrate it into modern buildings. This is a lost art and has to be integrated in college, reintegrated back into college curriculums and into the architectural practices. MEP professionals also have to be trained into understanding of the building code and energy conservation, water conservation, waste management, and design such that buildings perform. There is a integrated approach for architecture and MEP teams to work together for net zero buildings, net zero design buildings, and net zero operational buildings, both from energy, water, and waste perspective. It can be sometimes very challenging for the homeowners to understand the technical aspects of sustainability and the performance that we are looking at and what is actually a better building. It is only when they come to stay in an apartment that they realize water quality is bad, or the energy bills are humongous, or the waste management is totally out of sync or whack. STPs don't work, and so on and so forth. So we need to develop deep understanding of various stakeholders, of homeowners, urban local bodies, building planning permit officials in the urban local bodies, state designated authorities, and a clear understanding of what it means to live in a poorly designed, non sustainable building. These have to be common knowledge. Organizations such as Global Building Performance take policies and technical aspects and convert them into easy to understand checklists and training material for urban local bodies, state designated authorities for enforcement of the code. We are very aware that there is a huge challenge on capacity development and capability development. We are working with universities and academia to ensure that we are able to reintegrate aspects of climate responsive design, understanding of code back into the curriculum. It is important that success for the built environment, it will not come by default. And we will have to put a lot of effort here. Digital code compliance, capacity building of variety of stakeholders is critical in this journey. But we don't have a choice. These challenges have to be overcome and provide great opportunities to create a new India.
Policies and technologies alone are not enough. Participation of local governments and communities is equally important. What have been WRA India's key interventions in Kerala building and local government space? How do local governments fit into this transition in Kerala? Had it been helpful?
One of our major areas of work has been developing net zero carbon building roadmaps for Kochi and Thiruvananthapuram municipal corporations. And in Kochi, the focus was on identifying foundational enablers like building energy data systems, benchmarking frameworks, and strengthening the implementation of the Energy Conservation Building Code or ECBC. In Thiruvananthapuram, through a largely stakeholder led process, we expanded the scope of the roadmap to include climate resilience, particularly addressing heat stress and solutions to ensure that buildings remain safe and livable under extreme heat conditions. Recommendations also included action on low carbon materials, green procurement systems, and moving towards a circular construction economy through reconstruction rather than demolition. And as we all know, in Kerala, local governments play a very key role in the state's energy transition because they are both service providers and implementation agencies. We work with 92 local bodies to assess the potential for rooftop solar and energy efficiency improvements in public buildings. And following our efforts to build capacity and engaging with government institutions, many panchayats are now taking steps towards installing solar rooftops. However, the challenge lies in scaling these efforts. This requires strong financial mechanisms, technical capacity building, and better coordination between local governments and state level agencies.
Let us begin by examining the barriers faced by the consumers in adopting energy efficient technologies. Here again, I would like to invite Sarabjot to speak on it. While the opportunities are substantial, implementation on ground presents several practical challenges. Let us begin by examining the barriers faced by the consumers in adopting energy efficient technologies.
Despite the proven benefits of energy efficient appliances, several barriers continue to limit their adoption among consumers and at the grassroots level. One of the most significant challenges is the higher upfront cost of efficient appliances. Although B 5-star rated products offer substantial savings over their lifetime, many consumers continue to base purchasing decisions primarily on the initial purchase price rather than long-term operating costs. Another major challenge is consumer replacement behavior. Once a consumer purchases an appliance, he or she is generally willing to replace it only when the appliance becomes damaged or reaches the end of its useful life. Even if a more energy efficient model becomes available in the market, consumers often continue using the existing appliance until replacement becomes unavoidable. As a result, market penetration of highly efficient technologies can be slower than expected. Limited awareness regarding energy efficiency and energy labels also remains a concern. While awareness has improved in urban areas, many consumers are still unfamiliar with the meaning of star labels or the magnitude of savings achieved through efficient appliances. Consequently, energy efficiency often remains a secondary consideration during purchase decisions. Availability and accessibility of efficient products can also be a concern, particularly in smaller towns and rural areas where consumers may have fewer choices compared to major urban centers. Behavioral factors further influence adoption. Purchasing decisions are often driven by brand familiarity, promotional offers, aesthetics, and immediate affordability rather than life cycle cost savings. In many cases, consumer may not calculate the long-term electricity costs associated with appliance ownership. Another challenge is the limited promotion of energy efficiency through commercial advertising. Government agencies undertake awareness campaigns, however, their outreach is naturally constrained by budgetary and operational limitations. Manufacturers, retailers, and private companies have significantly greater visibility among consumers. Every energy efficiency messages need to be integrated more prominently into product advertisements, marketing campaigns, and retail sales strategies. In Kerala, increasing ownership of cooling appliances presents both opportunities and challenges. While efficient technologies can significantly reduce electricity consumption, ensuring widespread adoption requires addressing affordability, awareness, behavioral barriers, and market accessibility challenges. Addressing these barriers is essential for achieving large-scale energy savings and maximizing the benefits of India's energy efficiency initiatives.
Similar implementation challenges are observed in building sectors as well. What are the major challenges in implementing energy efficiency measures in buildings at the grassroots level, particularly in residential and small commercial sector? Kindly share any relevant experiences or suggestions applicable to Kerala as well.
Energy efficiency or sustainability never is on the top of the mind of the people who are making the homes or the buildings, okay? Because the first considerations are cost or vastu or aspirations or interior finishes, right? So you have to put it in the budget. Traditionally, when homes were built, climate responsive design was mandatory because cooling solutions were not available. Now we have cooling solutions, and hence climate responsive design has become optional. So we are now using concrete and glass irresponsibly to make buildings that are not thermally comfortable, well ventilated. We may have a lot of natural light because of excessive use of glass, but that light is of no use because there is a lot of heat gain that happens when you use excessive glass. And most of the time, you will draw the curtains and keep because of glare, visual discomfort, and because of heat, the thermal discomfort. And to take care of the thermal discomfort, you will put air conditioning. Traditionally, homes in Kerala never had to use air conditioning. The reason is they designed with the natural elements in play. Hot and humid. How do you design? You need a veranda, you need a courtyard. The courtyard actually acts as a conduit for pulling the air from all the rooms across, which is laid around, well laid around the courtyard, and up into the sky because hot air rises. This acts as a natural system of ventilation and cooling. Often these courtyards had water fountains. These are challenges because today time and space is an issue. Instead of better design and thinking of how we can look at climate responsive design in the modern buildings, we are resorting to extensive use of glass and fancy interiors to lure people into thinking that these homes are better for us, but they are not better for our neither for our health nor for our pockets. It is important that how do we communicate this with the end consumer? Often the challenge is on technical terms. Access to architects who understand passive design, who understand which materials can be used. And eventually, what happens is contractor led or developer led repeatable designs which do not take into account cross ventilation or shading or how the entire home should be in terms of thermal comfort becomes secondary. It is not possible. Okay, so there is a huge awakening required. Platforms or the solutions that we have over here, such as K-Smart, can provide an excellent opportunity to integrate simple energy efficiency checks into the building approval process. The digital platform that GBPN is working for the residential building will have small micro-learning modules for the developer, architects, and the people using the platform for the building planning permit process to understand these terminologies much better so that they're able to design better buildings. Kerala has a strong tradition of climate responsive design, including verandas and sloped roofs and local materials. These principles have to be adopted so that we are able to build better. How do we overcome some of the challenges of extensive use of glass and concrete? One, to look at what could be scaled in form of locally available materials that people can use. And how do we use insulation or materials that can give better thermal comfort in concrete buildings? Responsible use of glass, adequate shading, ensuring that the orientation is right are some of the practices that can be taken up that can make buildings code compliant and also give you all the benefits of climate responsive building design, which is energy efficient, better for the pocket, best for the health.
Having examined sectoral challenges, let us now look at Kerala's broad preparedness for energy transition. How would you describe Kerala's overall readiness for energy transition? What are some of the key gaps Kerala needs to address going forward?
Under the Energy Transition Preparedness Initiative, we see Kerala as a relatively strong in the institutional readiness part of it. Agencies like EMC Kerala and ANERT have provided a solid foundation for implementing clean energy policies. The state has also been proactive in the areas of energy efficient appliances promotion, green building incentives, and it has also taken the distinction of being one of the early adopters of the newly launched ECSBC, or the Energy Conservation and Sustainable Building Code of 2024, which is a positive step. Kerala has built strong vertical and horizontal institutional coordination in these areas. However, we note that while policy intent is strong, the challenge lies in execution. So, monitoring systems, especially for building energy performance, are still evolving. And this is where significant improvement is needed. The most important gap that we have found is in the area of demand side management. Buildings alone account for nearly a third of electricity consumption, so focusing on supply side renewable energy will not be sufficient. The implementation of ECBC and ESCBC needs to be strengthened, along with better tracking systems to ensure compliance. In public buildings, for example, there are energy audits being conducted, but the follow through on recommendations is often limited. Kerala also needs stronger data systems and more integrated planning approaches so that energy efficiency becomes a core part of decision making rather than an add on. Similar to public buildings, the other sector that needs to be focused on is affordable housing. This is especially relevant for Kerala because heat stress is becoming a serious concern. In fact, in one of our field level surveys that we conducted, we found that there are houses relying only on fans for thermal comfort and none of them being energy efficient BLDC fans. Also, green buildings and passive architectural features are also not considered in affordable housing, as ensuring safe housing is the only vision of affordable housing schemes. In Kerala, WRI India provided support to the LIFE mission for developing guidelines for thermal comfort. And we hope that the implementation of these guidelines will get much needed thermal comfort for the future affordable housing in the state.
The challenges are clear. The next step is identifying practical solutions that can accelerate progress and enable a resilient and sustainable energy future. We have discussed sector-specific solutions. Let's now conclude with a broader perspective on future of India's energy transition. What policy, institutional, fiscal, or technological interventions would you recommend for ensuring a sustainable, resilient, and affordable energy future for India?
Well, thanks for the question. In my view, ensuring a sustainable, resilient, and affordable energy future for India, it requires an integrated approach that can combine policy reforms, institutional strengthening, innovative financing, and accelerated technology deployment. Energy security and climate actions should be viewed as a complementary objectives rather than competitive priorities. Well, from the policy intervention point of view, the policy stability and long-term visibilities are very, very critical. Investors require predictable regulatory framework and clear market signals that gives them confidence for making the investments. As we all know, India has already established a strong policy foundation through initiatives such as National Green Hydrogen Mission, the renewable energy targets, the carbon credit trading schemes, and the energy efficiency programs uh, under the Energy Conservation Act. The next phase should focus on translating these national ambitions into actions at the state and the local levels, where energy, infrastructure, urban development decisions are increasingly shaping the future demand. Going forward, policies should increasingly focus on demand side efficiency, grid flexibility, energy storage, sector coupling across power, buildings, transport, and industry. There is also a need to mainstream the energy efficiency as a strategic resource. We must not ignore this particular part. Stronger building energy codes, appliance standards, cooling action plans can significantly moderate future demand growth and reduce infrastructure costs. We have necessary regulatory frameworks in place. So what we need is a compliance mechanism at the state level to ensure these are fruitful and giving the results at the ground. From the institutional intervention point of view, it is extremely important that the institutions need to evolve to support the energy transition. For example, the role of state designated agencies like the Energy Management Center in Kerala and similar organizations in many states, they are promoting these energy efficiency programs, and also the renewable energy development agencies, their role has been extremely remarkable. However, I feel there is a gap in the capacity, the budget provisions, and even the leadership. The distribution companies, our power utilities, they have become financially viable and technologically modernized. Strengthening regulatory institution, enhancing coordination between the central and state governments, and building capacities at local levels will be very, very essential. Equally important is fostering partnership among government, industry, financial institutions, and academia. At the same time, the collaboration with international agencies should not also be ignored. The energy transition is too large and it is very, very complex as well. If we need to address this particular issue, it is not a single stakeholder's concern. Collaboration is the backbone of taking it forward. I talked about the financial interventions as well. So, mobilizing this finance at scale will be one of the biggest challenges. We all understand that. Achieving India's climate and energy goals will require investments running into billions of dollars over the coming decades. Therefore, we need innovative financing mechanism, including like blended finance, green bonds, sustainability linked loans, energy efficiency financing facilities, credit guarantees, and risk sharing instruments. We have seen these instruments in the past in few of our programs. Few have been successful, few have not been successful. But we need all these instruments in place with a robust mechanism. So expanding this energy efficiency companies like ESCO models and developing green taxonomies can help attract greater private sector participation. Affordable finance is always a concern, and this is particularly important for our households, MSMEs, and municipalities, which collectively represent a significant untapped market for energy efficiency and distributed renewable energy. From the technology intervention point of view, it is extremely important because it is an enabler for energy security. The renewable energy must be complemented by battery storage, smart grids, digitalization, advanced metering infrastructure, and demand response system. Green hydrogen, carbon capture storage for hard to abate sectors, and domestic manufacturing of clean energy technologies will be increasingly important as we see a better energy security for the future. For the states like Kerala, resilience must be at the heart of the energy transition, given its dependence on important energy and vulnerability to floods and extreme weather events. Decentralized renewable energy system, electric cooking, rooftop solar, battery storage, and resilient infrastructure should be prioritized. Kerala can also become a leader in demand side management, electric mobility, clean cooking, and climate resilient buildings. In many ways, the state's development model aligns naturally with its principle of green growth and distributed energy system. Ultimately, I believe India's energy future will not be secured solely by producing more energy. It will be secured by producing cleaner energy, consuming energy more efficiently, strengthening institutions, mobilizing innovative finance, and building resilience into our infrastructure and communities. If I were to summarize the priorities in 4 words, this would be policy certainty, institutional capacity, financial innovation, and technological transformation. These 4 pillars will determine whether India can simultaneously achieve energy security, economic growth, and climate resilience in the decades ahead.
Complementary interventions are also required to influence markets and consumer behavior. What policy, market, financial, and awareness intervention would you recommend for promoting large-scale adoption of energy-efficient appliances and sustainable energy consumption practices in India?
Accelerating the adoption of energy efficient appliances requires a coordinated approach involving policy support, market transformation, innovative financing, and sustained consumer awareness. From a policy perspective, governments can strengthen public procurement practices by prioritizing BE 5-star rated appliances in government offices, public institutions, and local bodies. Public procurement generates demand, demonstrates leadership, and builds consumer confidence in efficient technologies. Financial intervention can help address the challenge of higher upfront costs. Incentive programs, rebates, exchange schemes, concessional financing, and on-bill repayment mechanism can make energy-efficient appliances more affordable. Particularly for middle and lower-income households, exchange programs can be especially effective in encouraging consumers to replace older, inefficient appliances before they reach the end of their operational life. Market-based intervention should focus on increasing the availability, visibility, and attractiveness of efficient products. Manufacturers and retailers should be encouraged to prominently display energy labels, estimated annual electricity savings, and life cycle cost benefits at points of sale and in promotional campaigns. In case of private sector, they has a particularly important role to play in awareness creation. Government agency can provide guidance and conduct targeted campaigns, but their ability to advertise on a large scale is inherently limited. Appliance manufacturers, retailers, e-commerce platform, and consumer brands collectively reach millions of consumers every day through television, digital media, print advertising, and other social media channels. Integrating energy efficiency messages into these platforms can significantly influence consumer purchasing decisions. Awareness programs should also focus on helping consumers understand life cycle cost rather than only the purchase price, demonstrating how a higher efficiency appliance can recover its additional cost through electricity bill savings is often more persuasive than discussing efficiency ratings alone. For Kerala, specific opportunities exist to scale up initiative involving 5-star rated ceiling fans, energy efficient cooling systems, efficient pumping system, and procurement programs across government departments and local self-government institutions. Integrating appliance efficiency with broader sustainability initiatives and the lifestyle for environment movement, that is the LIFE movement, can further strengthen the public participation. Ultimately, achieving large-scale adoption of energy-efficient appliances requires collaboration among government agencies, utilities, manufacturers, financial institutions, retailers, and other civil organizations and consumers in the society. A coordinated effort that combines policy support, financial incentives, strong market participation, and sustained awareness campaigns can deliver significant benefits in terms of energy savings, reduced electricity bills, and enhanced energy security and environmental sustainability.
Buildings will continue to shape energy demand for decades to come. Let us therefore discuss enabling ecosystems required for sustainable building. What policy measures, institutional support mechanism, or capacity building initiatives are required to accelerate sustainable building practices across India and Kerala?
First, we have to make energy efficient buildings and sustainability a part of the normal approval system. It is not a separate voluntary exercise. And Kerala has taken very important steps in this direction. And this approach can be strengthened through phase compliance that starts with simple, high impact checks that local body can realistically implement. Funded buildings, public buildings should lead by example. Schools, hospitals, government offices, housing projects can demonstrate benefits of energy efficient, thermally comfortable buildings while creating confidence across the market. Strong institutional support is required. States need technical cells, solution centers to help urban local bodies interpret the technical nuances, implement and monitor the energy codes. Digital compliance tool is critical. It has to be directly integrated into the approval workflows, which makes the implementation easier and more consistent. Capacity building plays a huge role. It has to be practical, role specific. Decision makers need to understand citizen benefit, costs of managing and operating such humongous energy guzzling buildings, which are not code compliant or energy efficient or sustainability oriented. Engineers, architects, builders, contractors needs hand-on guidance using real drawings, local case studies, and practical exercises. And at the grassroots level, we have to look at localization in languages which are comfortable with the state. Visual checklists, simple guidance has to be made for wider adoption. Institutions such as Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Energy Management Center, LSGD, KILA, IKM, urban local bodies, academia, industry need to work towards a shared implementation pathway. And Kerala's experience offers a valuable model. Localize the code, build capacity, test live projects, continuous improvement through feedback. The focus is moving from code notification to the real world implementation. Organizations such as ours, the Global Building Performance, is right there with EMC in this process.
No organization or institution can achieve this transition alone. Partnership and collaborations are essential. How important are partnerships in Kerala's energy transition journey? What are some of the newer areas WRI India is currently working on in Kerala?
Kerala's transition is not driven by a single institution, but by a network of actors, including EMC Kerala, ANERT, KSCB, local governments, and planning bodies. WRI India's role has been in supporting this ecosystem through research, technical assistance, pilot projects, and capacity building. What works particularly well in Kerala is the strong institutional ecosystem. When these agencies collaborate effectively, the impact of clean energy interventions becomes much more scalable and sustainable. We are expanding our work into new and emerging sectors like tourism and affordable housing. With KTDC, the Kerala Tourism Development Corporation, for example, we are working on developing clean energy and energy efficiency roadmaps for government owned tourism properties. These buildings have significant potential to reduce emissions and can even be transformed into net zero or near net zero facilities over time. With the LIFE mission, we are focusing on improving thermal comfort in affordable housing. This is especially important given the heat stress situation becoming more severe every year and access to affordable cooling emerging as a critical issue. The goal is to ensure that housing is not just affordable, but also energy efficient and climate resilient.
As we come to the final segment of the discussion, let us look ahead to the future. My question is to WRA India. How do you see Kerala's energy future evolving over the next decade? And what role will WRA India continue to play in this journey?
Kerala's energy future will depend on how effectively it balances renewable energy expansion with strong demand side action. The most important sectors will be buildings, transport, tourism, and local government infrastructure. The state already has strong policy foundations and active institutions, which is a major advantage. However, the next phase of the energy transition in Kerala would require scaling successful pilots, strengthening monitoring systems, and improving coordination across departments. Energy efficiency and clean energy need to be integrated into mainstream planning rather than being treated as separate initiatives. WRI India will continue to support Kerala through targeted work in buildings, cooling, EV integration, and local government systems. Our focus will remain on enabling practical, scalable solutions that support low carbon, climate resilient, and energy efficient future for the state in close partnership with local and state institutions. This is a useful exercise to do for us also because it gave us the opportunity to reflect on our journey in Kerala over the last 5 to 7 years, building on our work, which we started on buildings, and then we have gradually started working with Kerala state government agencies on energy transition, and we have a lot of learnings and knowledge that we've generated through this experience. And we will continue to support the state in its energy transition journey going forward. Thank you.
Thank you to all distinguished panelists for sharing their valuable insights and experiences. Today's discussion has highlighted that energy security is no longer only about ensuring adequate energy supply. It is equally about efficiency, sustainability, affordability, resilience, innovation, and partnership. We have heard how energy efficient appliances, buildings, demand side management, renewable energy, local government action, and supportive policies can collectively contribute towards a more sustainable future. For Kerala, the opportunities are significant. At the same time, success will require coordinated action among government agencies. Local governments, industries, financial institutions, knowledge partners, and citizens has an equal role to play. On behalf of Energy Management Center, I express my sincere gratitude to all panelists and collaborating organizations for this valuable participation in our special episode, the 50th of Energy Talks with EMC. Arivinu Orjabara. Nani, thank you to all. Namaskaram.
Subscribe to the Energy Management Center Kerala YouTube channel for more innovative, insightful, and informative sessions on energy, sustainability, and climate action. Stay connected and be part of the journey towards a greener future.